Welcome back to the QB Huddle podcast presented by New Era Media. I am back in the seat this week. It's not going to be so great. We're going to have a shorter show this week.
We are back.
But I'm back thanks to Stefan and Exo. My apologies. And Lauren Morales for stepping in last week. What a great show the three of you put on. But I'm Tim Smith, and I'm joined as always by my podcast partner, Brandon Newey.
Let's go.
Thank you for tuning in. Please be sure to subscribe, like, share, and comment. Get involved. We have a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about some college. But before we get into that, we had a young quarterback on our Young Gun series, Chris Jimerson from North Crowley, come out a couple weeks ago and do an interview for us. And Brandon, I wasn't able to go because I blew out 3 discs in my back. But you were at the game this weekend where North Crowley, Chris Jimerson punched their ticket to the state championship game, which you and I will be attending this Saturday. Man, talk about that atmosphere and that game and Chris's performance.
That atmosphere was insane. That is the best high school football experience I've ever had in my life. And granted, I've only been in Texas for 10 years. So, Twix was telling us about this off social media guy, like, hey, this is kind of how it is. And I'm just like, there's no way. I mean, it was probably no exaggeration, probably 30,000 people there. It took an hour to get into the stadium. Mm-hmm. And we've already parked. It took about 45 minutes to park. It took an hour to get to the concession stand. The second we sit down, now granted, we've already ate. And I have my little guy with me with his little headphones on. He wanted some popcorn. Took about an hour to get 2 things of popcorn, 2 waters, and a lemonade icy.
Wow.
And for a high school game, there was so much firepower in this game. You had alone, I think it was 8 5-star athletes. You have some big time names that will potentially be future NFL players. You have the number 1 quarterback in the state go against what I think is one of the best quarterbacks in the country and the most slept on guy in the state, Chris Jimerson, and he had a 4-touchdown game. He sealed the deal through a nice pass in man coverage to Quentin Gibson, displayed a lot of touch. It was a beautiful 2-ball. I mean, he really ripped it up, man. What makes him so special is his ability to process information very quickly, but also never panic in the situation. And both quarterbacks were fantastic to me. I think Keelan Russell is a player. I mean, I really got to lay eyes on him for the first time ever since his freshman year working with D-Rob out there. And, man, has he grown and matured. He's very decisive with his decision-making, and so is Chris. Chris didn't turn the ball over. Keelan threw, I think, was his 5th pick of the year. He's got 53 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. Absolutely insane. But Chris has over 40-plus or accounted for over 50 touchdowns. So these are the two of the best high school quarterbacks in the country. It was phenomenal, man. It was a good game. I'm glad North Crowley punched their ticket. I've watched those young guys grow up since the outlaw days and elite days out in Fort Worth, youth guys, and it turns out, and they've got their opportunity. So they play Westlake, Austin Westlake, which, if you know, that's Drew Brees' former alma mater, Kay Klubnik. There's a lot of Austin Westlake guys, Nick Foles. So they have a good program, man. So it's definitely going to be exciting. They kicked the doors down on North Shore, who was supposed to be the dominant one, XO, and they pulled a shocker, right? So I'm excited, I'm fired up, but also, South Oak Cliff punched their ticket. We obviously have a teammate, your former player, Keith Davis, aka Smoke. Man, I talked to him. He was really excited. This is his 4th state championship he's going to. So very excited for him. Also, the other quarterback, Justin Whitaker, I had the pleasure of working with him. Such a bright future for him. And also Brez. So we got some guys, in both lanes. They play on a Friday, though. So I'm going to head out both days and support these guys and see them punch that ticket to a state championship. So it was real cool.
Sounds good. And we've got a new quarterback for this week's Young Guns. We'll talk about towards the end of the show as we tease that out. We had a little bit of college action this weekend. We did have the Army-Navy game. I'm an Army guy. I was in the military, and so I'm always big into watching that game. And it disappointed me. I don't know if you had a chance to watch. I know you're doing a lot of Christmas stuff with your son.
Yeah.
But, yeah, man, it surprised me that Army got ran through the way they did. I knew both teams were pretty good. When I was in right before basic training, we went through a pre-basic training type situation where you go and You basically run through the day of what your day in life is going to be, right? Before you get out there. And while we're doing push-ups and sit-ups and burpees and just getting annihilated by our drill sergeants, the Army and the Air Force were over on the other side of the gym playing basketball, or the Navy and the Air Force rather. And so I've always had a lower opinion of the Navy and the Air Force. I think they're a bunch of pussies, but they whooped our ass this weekend. So congratulations. Unless you're a Navy SEAL, I don't want
Shot fired, homie.
Unless you're a Navy SEAL,
Shots
I don't
fired.
want that smoke. But
ladies, I do not personally feel that way. I had a really good mentor who was a colonel in the Navy and a former I call him Maverick. He was the OG Maverick. Now his son flies for the Blue Angels. So have no disrespect towards the military. We love y'all boys.
Hey,
that's this Army dude.
as an Army guy, the Navy guys know what it is. But
I'm gonna stay away from that. Air Force,
nothing but respect. They whooped our ass.
I want no smoke.
they whooped us this weekend, so nothing but respect for the Navy team.
Well, the guy from Navy rushed for he had over 200 yards and 25 carries.
They were just doing whatever they wanted.
One thing I am proud of, though, it's good to see these two teams, despite not having the crazy talent that other teams have, they're not paying for players.
Right.
They both put out 9 and 11 win seasons.
Yeah, they're good. And
I ain't mad at that. I would have loved to see
Saturday was ridiculous.
I would have loved to see them. This was kind of like my ideal dream, like kind of matchup, because they're always the last game of the season. Yeah. What if they were both undefeated and fighting for a college football
playoff spot,
bro?
Right?
Come on, man.
Maybe we're
that
not.
Would be so turned.
Maybe we're not far from that now.
It could happen.
Speaking of the end of the season, we had some awards that were given out. I don't think there were any surprises. We'll go through some of the bigger ones. The Biletnikoff obviously went to Hunter. I was a little surprised about that. I didn't feel like he was the top best number one receiver in all of the country, but
especially when San Jose had the Triple Crown.
Yeah, I was a little surprised that he got that award, but he did. The Davey O'Brien Award went to Cam Ward. Congratulations to Cam Ward. He really held that Miami team together all season long.
Yep.
Doak Walker goes to Genty. That makes all the sense in the world. The Walter Camp Award to Travis Hunter. The Maxwell Award to Genty. And then the big one, the Mac Daddy of them all, the Heisman Trophy to Travis Hunter. My question to you, Brandon Newey, is what are all the Colorado fans mad about now? Like all year it's been, woe is us. Everyone hates us because of Deion. Deion's been, everyone hates me. You're not going to give my kid the Heisman, Hunter, because you hate me. But now we got the Heisman. You got all the awards. Are we still angry in Colorado land, or are we finally happy, and do we finally feel good?
Well, you forgot to mention another award, Johnny Unitas Award, with Shedeur Sanders, arguably the best quarterback in college football, was not at the Heisman Trophy ceremony. Go look it up, man. He's the only quarterback in top 5 categories. He's the only one.
Why wasn't he there to support Travis Hunter?
He was right there.
Oh, you said he wasn't there.
No. I said he wasn't at – he should have been on the stage.
No.
Absolutely. Okay. Go look at his stats.
I think they had the right.
Absolutely.
I get you, but he's
had the most clutch moments outside of Cam Ward.
You're not gonna do that.
So Matt Leinart and Reggie Bush were there.
Oh, they did do that. I guess they
Jason White and Mark Clayton, they were there.
Well,
for the Heisman.
I would tell you that Shedeur to me is very.
Mac Jones and Devontae Smith were there.
Hey, I was wrong.
Of course.
But Shedeur to me is very, very, very much like Caleb Williams. He's a wild card. He doesn't throw in rhythm very often. He depends on his athleticism a lot. And honestly, I think his attitude didn't help him. He doesn't have that all-American, everybody loves him attitude. Everybody loves Travis Hunter.
He's a self.
Everybody loves Travis Hunter. He's just a good guy. I personally don't get the idea that Shedeur is just a good dude. I think he's a jacknut. And I think he's going to be a problem in the NFL. I think he's going to be someone.
Wow, are you calling that right now? So we're calling it on the QB Huddle show, folks. He says he's going to be poo-poo.
No,
I don't think
no, not poo-poo. A jacknut mentally. He's going to be somebody's headache. He's got a lot of talent. He obviously works with Tom Brady. He's got the pedigree from Deion Sanders. But I just think the mental, if he doesn't grow up, he's going to be a headache for some head coach in the NFL.
Well, his nickname is Grown. He's very mature.
Doesn't seem like it.
Tim, what has he
done?
done?
Doesn't seem like it.
What has he done?
He seems very selfish. He seems very showy. He's a
flash guy.
He I'll tell you, and I'm going to take a lot of flack for this, and that's okay. Not shaking hands at the end of the game, but talking smack to the quarterback that you just beat, not having that respect when he came up to you to show you respect.
Hold on, bro. He talks so much stuff. Oh, see,
they all do it.
No.
No one talks more than the Sanders clan.
Hell no.
No one talks more than the Sanders clan.
No.
Who talks more than the Sanders group?
No. Those dudes from Colorado State had an interview.
Yeah,
and were
it's
basically.
But that's before the game. When you go up after the game to shake hands and say, good game.
Nah, we good.
You don't be a douchebag.
Nah, keep that same energy. We good. Keep it pushing.
Okay.
That's how you roll.
I think
that's how you roll.
Pre-game is one thing. Post-game is another. Look at every player in the NFL. They talk smack
I get
to each
it,
other.
man. I get it.
Come on, man. You got to respect the game at some point. You have to.
So you don't think he reveres the game?
Legendary. That's all I ever hear from Shedeur Sanders. Legendary.
I mean, he has some legendary moments, bro. He's the most clutch quarterback in the NCAA. No question.
I would say I'm going to give that to Cam Ward because Cam Ward didn't have number one guys to throw to on the outside.
I love Cam, but also
he didn't have a defense to back him up.
But Shedeur also doesn't have an offensive line, bro. He got sacked 50 times last year and still put up those numbers.
You don't think he holds on to the ball sometimes too long?
I do. I think Cam Ward holds on to the ball. I think a lot of these ad-lib quarterbacks hold on to the ball, and you got to throw in rhythm. I think the best player is Shedeur when throwing in rhythm. Have you seen him throw in rhythm?
I have seen him throw in rhythm sometimes.
He's ice water. Click.
I also think that he had a much better cast around him than Cam Ward or any of the other quarterbacks we talk about.
I agree.
I think that helps. And, it's just, I don't know. We'll see. He's grown up, obviously, with a silver spoon. He's gotten everything he's ever wanted. His dad coached him in Pee Wee, high school, college. Who knows? Deion might show up in Vegas next year and be a Raider. We never know. I don't know. I think he's going to be a headache for somebody. I do. He might be super talented and he might be a great player, but he's going to cause some headaches for a head coach, I think.
Well, I think if he goes to the Raiders and Tom is obviously in his corner, I think he understands.
That's the best spot for him. But
the Raiders organization isn't very good.
They will be.
Well, hopefully, if Tom gets out the booth and puts his focus into the team. That's the only way it happens. Can't do it both ways. Can't be 1 foot in, 1 foot out, brother.
Tom's not getting out that booth. He's making too much money.
I mean, it's fine, but at the same time, you got your quarterback that you're going to draft. Obviously, he's playing a big role in building this team. He's got to be all in too.
So let's talk about
because if you're not in the building, can't really control it, can you?
Very quickly, as of today, if it ended today, the Giants have the number 1 pick. The Raiders have the number 2 pick. The Giants need a quarterback, obviously. Are the Raiders going to have to trade? And if so, do the Giants make it very, very painful for the Raiders to make that trade to get Shedeur Sanders at number 2?
Shedeur's not going to New York, bro.
New York has number 1 pick. What do you mean he's not going to New York? They have the number 1 pick.
He's not going. Deion is going to pull Archie.
Here we go.
And Archie.
I don't like any of that. I didn't like it when Archie did it, and I didn't like it when Elway did it.
Yep. That's what he's doing.
Like if they do it, I feel like
Travis is doing the same thing.
You do not have a right to play in the NFL. You do not have a given right to play in the NFL.
I get it, man, but that's the way it is, man. If he understands the franchises and how they operate, you don't want to put yourself in a shitty situation. Period. You got the opportunity to do so. If not, you're gonna fall in the draft, and somebody's gonna take you, and you'll be in a better team.
So what's Deion gonna do? Make a call, and New York is just gonna say, "Okay, we won't draft him." No, that's not.
He's just gonna simply say he's not going there. Simple.
That's how easy it is.
That's exactly how easy it is. If Archie can do it,
Caleb
Deion
thought
can
he was
do it.
going to do that with Chicago, and
Deion has more skins in the game than Archie.
I don't like it. I don't like what you're talking about.
It is what it is.
I don't like any of this.
But think about it, man. Think about how many quarterbacks go to crappy organizations and completely fail themselves, and it takes 7 years to even get it back right, a.k.a. Sam Darnold.
I get you.
Come on,
That's
man.
how it works.
I mean, yeah, but at the same time, if you got a right to go, if you don't want to go there, don't go there. Hey, maybe it is, but he's playing his cards and he's playing them right. Because look at what he's done.
So we know where Shedeur won't be, and that will be playing in the playoffs. But there are some playoff games this weekend. the NCAA playoffs start this weekend, Brandon. I am so excited. I feel like it's Christmas, like a kid at Christmas, right? We've been waiting for this for decades, and we have actual playoff games. Indiana on Friday travels to Notre Dame. That game's at 8 p.m. Eastern. I suspect Notre Dame. I would say usually Notre Dame is going to destroy Indiana. I do think this will be a closer game. I suspect Notre Dame to win the game.
Right.
SMU travels to Penn State this weekend. I don't think that's a good look for SMU, bro.
They got dealt a bad hand, man.
I think Penn State's about to annihilate them.
I don't know if annihilate. I just think the atmosphere is just going to be really hard to control. They've never been in an atmosphere like this before.
Never, and they got lucky.
It's just different.
They got lucky. This is a 11 a.m. game.
I can't stand Penn State, dude.
What's that?
I can't stand Penn State.
But imagine if this game was at 7 o'clock.
They're so overrated.
In a whiteout. Can you imagine that atmosphere? Have you ever seen the whiteout games at Penn State?
Yes.
On Saturday? This is a Saturday, 12 p.m. Eastern game, so you're not going to quite get that atmosphere. Unfortunately, they gave Ohio State the night game. Clemson,
of course they did.
Travels to Texas, should get run through in Austin, I would think. I don't think
so.
You tell you what, Austin should have no problems, but I'm going to say this.
Clemson got athletes,
Ewers
bro.
continues to struggle the way he has, and now knowing that he's going to transfer at the end of the year, not transfer to the NFL, but transfer to another team in the NCAA, I am quick trigger to put in Arch Manning at this point.
1,000%.
I know you're going to leave anyway at the end of the year.
1,000%.
I know you've sucked for the last 6 weeks. If you struggle in this game, I'm making the change.
1,000%.
Are you with me? You're with me on
first quarter.
First quarter. I may start him at this point. You're
first
transferring?
Quarter.
You're not graduating to the NFL?
First quarter.
Sit your ass
You want
down.
a short lease because to me, I feel like Quinn is still has those muddy feet, man. And he's had them since high school.
Yeah,
and I've always noticed that with him. His footwork is sloppy. Now, does he have a good arm? He does. But he's late on a lot of things. I think the best thing he does, like, extremely well, just as good as probably anybody I've seen, is RPO. He's a beast at RPO, right? That ball gets out quick. He's anticipating. Yeah, I mean, but we're not – Arch doesn't have all the skins in the game yet. Quinn has a nice body of work. Like, Arch is still young.
Still making the move in the playoffs.
If you struggle, the only way I give Clemson the nod on this is they've been through this before. This isn't their first rodeo. It's a different player, obviously, but the organization itself has prepared for moments. They're national champs, man. Like they're a few years removed from that. You know what I mean? So I feel like them going into a hostile territory, Cade Klubnik going back to Austin, his homeland. Right? If you remember back in, I think it was 4 years ago, Quinn Ewers and Cade Klubnik battled it out in the 6A state playoffs, and Cade won.
Yeah, Quinn.
Right? So maybe that is a mental thing that goes into it, or maybe Ewers has a chip on his shoulder like, man, this is in the hometown. This is from the stadium. I got to put on.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Hope he doesn't force the issue, but understand he's probably going to be on a short leash if he turns the ball over at least 2 times in the first half.
Whew. Please don't turn the ball over. And then
I'm just saying, Clemson's got athletes, man.
We've got Tennessee traveling to Ohio State. That could be the upset of the day. Tennessee could go into Ohio State into the horseshoe and win that game. It's going to be a night game, but they're no stranger to big atmospheres, right? They play at Alabama, they play at LSU. Tennessee itself is a big atmosphere.
That's why I said they're built for this. This is not going to rattle them. They're built for this. This could be the upset of the weekend. Tennessee at Ohio State. My hate for Ohio State drives me to say Tennessee's going to win this game. What they call them? The buck what?
The buck nuts.
I can't get it out.
We have a new client in our actual business who he's an Indiana graduate. He goes to all the Indiana games, and he refers to Ohio State as the Ohio State Bucknuts, and we appreciate it. Thanks, Bruce. We love you.
Hey, man, I got a client that's an Ohio State fan. Again, this is not me, okay? This is not me. This is all Tim. This is Tim Jitsu coming out.
Go Blue. I can't even believe Ohio State's in the playoffs. I thought when they lost to Michigan, they would have been out completely. So the fact that they're in, I'm pretty surprised by that. They weren't even in the Big Ten championship game. So not quite sure how they made it to the playoffs. But that's, maybe that's the one team the committee got wrong. Let's get into the NFL talk. We got some playoff talk to go through, Brandon, because while the slate of games aren't always good, there's 4 or 5 games a week now that have playoff implications. There's a couple teams in, a couple teams on the bubble. AFC, we've got Kansas City, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Houston, all in. All in. In the hunt, we've got Ravens, Broncos, Chargers. What say you, especially with the way the Ravens came out and where they are now, fighting to get back into it?
They might be the scariest team in the AFC.
Ooh.
No, I'm serious. Dead serious. Because here's the thing about when you get in these.
That's a bold statement.
When you lose like this, right? And then you start to catch fire. It's all about getting hot. Who gets hot in December, man? I mean, Lamar's coming off arguably one of the best games I've ever seen him play from a pocket standpoint. But you also got the Bills too, man. I mean, it's coming. It's coming down to the wire on these. Who's going to take down the Kansas City Chiefs? Who's going to the Mahomes Invitational, a.k.a. the AFC title game?
Well,
which I don't care what's wrong with him.
I mean, he may not even play this week.
He won a Super Bowl on a messed up ankle. I don't care what's wrong with him.
Okay.
He's fine.
I look at Buffalo and I wonder,
they're scary.
They dropped that game to the Rams. It was a weird one. Matthew Stafford had to play out of his mind. I worry about the Buffalo defense, to be honest with you. I mean, they're just giving up 40 points a week.
Yeah.
But what they did, what Buffalo did in Detroit, that can't be understated. Now, I want to bring
depleted,
this up real
bro.
quick while we're in it.
They're holding on by a string.
I assume that you watched some of that game or all the games.
Oh, I watched all of it.
I had a huge problem, and I feel like this changed the game and really handed the Bills the victory. I had a huge problem with that onside kick at the time that Dan Campbell decided to make the onside kick decision. How did you feel about it? I know he's a gambler, but I feel like that was a little too far.
That was the wrong move with 15 minutes left. You only got a 7% chance of actually converting that onside kick. Pin them back, get your defense right. But here's the thing. They could not stop Josh Allen. They couldn't stop him. And that was admitting
it, I guess. They were saying
they can't stop him. And it really helps, especially if you get James Cook rolling. My respect for Josh Allen's gone through the roof. I mean, I'll be honest, he was a numbnut. He was a wild stallion. We all knew he had great talent. But him being able to facilitate the right way, not make the erratic decisions that he used to, but still give you the dynamic play when he needs to. I think we're seeing a different beast now. And hopefully he continues this in the playoffs. I would love to see the Ravens and Bill match up to see who plays in the Chiefs Invitational, the Mahomes Invitational, because that's what it's going to take. Here's the thing, both Lamar and Josh Allen have beaten Kansas City and Arrowhead. So there gives them a little boost, right? Yeah. And also, unfortunately, Joe Burrow and them, man, I don't know how they're going to make it. It's too tight. It's too tight now. I don't know how they make it.
I don't think Joe's going to make it. I
would put the Bengals over the Colts. I tell you that.
I would.
And they're sitting in the 6th spot.
No, I know. I would love for the Bengals to make it. I look at Josh Allen and I think, God, if
he's insane, bro.
Just get one turnover a game, the Bills won't lose. I mean, you can't stop that offense right now. They have the run game going. Yeah. They're throwing the ball well. Josh Allen, if he has to, he will use his feet. He will run through you, around you, or over you. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He's
a good player, man.
It's a lot of fun.
He's a really good player.
Let's look at the NFC because we got 3 teams that are definitely in, without question: Detroit, Philly, and Minnesota. Mm-hmm. Although I'm gonna say that Minnesota looks the weakest out of the 3 to me. Even that win over Chicago last night wasn't that impressive. Chicago didn't have terrible.
To be. They did their thing. They did their job. How was that not impressive?
Out of those 3 teams, they're the weakest of the 3 in my opinion. Detroit, Detroit, the Eagles, and the Vikings. I don't think the Vikings can beat either of those two teams in the playoffs. But then you have some in the hunt teams. Tampa, the Rams, the Packers, and Washington. The team I think out of there, and we'll talk about this a little bit, but man, that Tampa Bay team right now is dangerous. It may be the most dangerous team in all of the NFL as they're getting their weapons back. And Baker Mayfield is playing lights out, especially now that he has Mike Evans back.
Yeah, they look good, man. They look good. But again, it's all built off of motivation. Obviously, they're trying to secure that seed as far as winning their division. But for you to say that the Vikings are weaker, dude, they are at 12-2. What are you talking about?
I said the weakest out of those three teams.
No.
I don't. So the Vikings could go into Philly and beat Philly? I don't think so.
I think so.
No.
I think so. I think so. I think so.
The Vikings can go into Detroit and beat Detroit? No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Sam Darnold didn't look great last night.
No.
He had some moments where he looked pretty bad. And
listen,
we're talking about
I think Detroit is hanging on by a string.
Well,
right
Detroit
now,
has more injuries than anybody else.
Exactly. So
anybody else.
Exactly. So it's not the fact that they're just a bad team. They're not. They're really good at what they do. They're built tough for it, but I think they're just hanging on by a thread. You stop that run game, it's over. It's over. I just don't think. I think they are dying out at the wrong time.
Well, their defense is beat up, man.
They're beat up, and
they have nobody left.
They don't have a good pass rush. They don't have good cover corners. They're getting put up 40 points a game. If you watched all of their games, everybody and their mom has stayed within inches of those games.
Yeah.
They're not just running away with the games like they did in the first half of the season. And also, the team you're not talking about is those young guns, the Packers. What?
You really think the Packers are...
The Packers are the sleeper team. The Packers have nothing to lose, but everything to gain.
You're ahead of yourself. We're going to get into sleeper teams in a second.
I'm just saying. I've
With
seen enough of them.
Give me a real quick shotgun thought. Favorite team to meet in the Super Bowl right now. Who you got?
Ravens, Vikings.
Okay. I got Bills, Lions. Bills, Lions.
But didn't you say create a matchup that no one's talking about?
No, I just said, what's your matchup right now?
Oh, favorites in the Super Bowl.
Like if you were to say right now, this is who I think is going to play in the Super Bowl realistically. We'll get to the create a Super Bowl matchup no one's talking about in a little bit. But right now, you had to pick two teams. You had to say, you know what, these two teams are probably going to play in the Super Bowl. Who you got?
I'm going to say Eagles Chiefs, part 2.
Okay. You know what? The Eagles are looking really strong.
Let's dance again. Yeah, and Gainwell, despite Barkley not even having a 100-yard game, thanks a lot, Barkley. I lost my game. No, I'm just kidding. But those guys are good, man. They can win different ways. And for people who says Jalen Hurts can't throw, false. He was extremely efficient. And I'm shocked you don't have him in the actual on fire, Tim, which just shows your biased justice towards everybody else.
No, if I look at what Justin Fields or Jalen Hurts did.
The ball hit the ground like 3 times, bro.
Well, he was 25 of 32, so that's 7 times. 290, 2 touchdowns. Yeah, that's okay. That's not on fire. That's not El Fuego. That's not cooking.
Didn't Josh Allen just do that?
They also had 131 yards of Josh Allen also ran for 2 touchdowns. And without Josh Allen, the Bills lost that game in Detroit.
So you don't think without Jalen Hurts they wouldn't? You think with
no, you can get another quarterback to play in Philly, no problem.
Oh, you're tripping, bro. You're tripping.
I know you're not sitting here telling me that Jalen Hurts is as good as Josh Allen. I know we're not comparing those two. They're not even in the same atmosphere.
No,
I'm
not.
Okay,
no,
I got.
But he did have. He did have 3 touchdowns and 45 on the ground and 15 carries, but also had 78% completion. Tim, what are you talking about?
You can put him in your on fire. We don't have to agree.
Bro, you are.
I'm not putting 2 touchdowns on fire for that.
3 total touchdowns.
Oh, 3 total.
In a win versus Pittsburgh.
Because he had his push touchdown. Congratulations.
Hey, whatever. You tripping, bro. You're
okay,
tripping.
Who's your sleeper team? Give me one for the AFC, one for the NFC. I'm going to give you mine.
My sleeper team?
Sleeper team.
I don't
The team
really
that can
think
sneak up and get in.
Like get into the playoffs?
No. A team that could sneak up and make it to the big game, to the Super Bowl. Who's your sleeper team?
The Ravens.
That's your sleeper team?
When have they gone to the Super Bowl, Tim? In the last almost 10 years.
I mean, 3 weeks ago, Lamar was the MVP and Derrick Henry was the best running back to ever live.
Lamar's still the MVP.
No, he's not.
He's got better stats than Josh Allen. Go look it up since you like to look up quick stats. Don't worry, I'll wait.
What did you just say about him and Josh Allen?
He actually has better stats than Josh Allen.
Oh, well, that's great.
Go look it up. Don't worry, I'll wait.
Anyway, the sleeper team for me is going to be Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers.
Oh, God.
And then John Harbaugh and the LA Chargers, baby. That's
not after that performance the other day.
Okay, Let's talk about that for a second. The Chargers going into last week had the number one defense in the league, and Baker Mayfield tore through them. Does that say more about Baker or more about the Chargers?
Sliced them and diced them.
That says more about Baker to me.
He also has Mike Evans, who went bananas.
Well, those two have such a great chemistry. Man,
Mike Evans is such a selfless receiver.
Don't forget, Baker Mayfield had an offer on the table and put it to the side and said, sign Mike Evans first, then come back. He wanted to make sure Mike Evans got signed before he signed.
That's how you do it, man. You're going to take the bulk of the percentage anyway.
But what they did to the Chargers was outstanding. But the Chargers are a team that can sneak up on you. Their problem right now is they've kind of lost their run game a little bit. They need to get that back. But if they can start running the ball again, get that defense back on track from this week slaughtering. That's a team that, defense wins in the playoffs. Defense and run game always wins in the playoffs. Now, we're in the bottom half of the season, and teams are fighting to get to the playoffs, right? There's some teams out there that aren't in the playoffs, but we thought coming in probably had a chance to be playoff teams and could beat some of these teams. The Jets just did it this weekend. Could beat a team and keep them out of the playoffs or make it even harder for them to get in and actually play spoiler. I've got the Jets, the Bears, and the Bengals to do some spoiling in the last 3 weeks of the season. Do you have anybody on the radar that you would look at and go, they're going to spoil somebody's season before it's over?
Oh, yeah, the 49ers.
Oh, of course.
Oh, yeah, hell yeah. Let's just go play spoiler. Let's just go piss everybody off because we're all mad. Sorry-ass season.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
That's my one team.
The Cowboys, too, are a little bit of a spoiler.
I'm going to say Bengals, too. Bengals going to spoil everybody.
I got the
Bengals. Pissed. Yeah, Bengals pissed.
How about them Cowboys, man? They all of a sudden they got something going.
Next.
I mean, you brought up the 49ers who have.
Hey, but I kept it short and sweet.
Okay, I got the Cowboys at 6-8. They could play spoiler. They made Bryce Young think about life choices.
Hey, do you got more wins than us? I think you do.
Yeah.
You know what's sad, man? What's sad? We're either in the NFC title game or we never make the playoffs.
Oh, we have the same record.
That's so whack, bro. Oh, we do?
Yeah, both 6-8.
Hey, let's bet $5, man. Let's bet $5 on this. Who has the better record at the end?
Who has the better record? I mean, why not?
I'll buy you some popcorn on January 10th.
There you go. Here is what you were asking about later. Create a Super Bowl matchup that nobody is talking about. It can be a personal thing that you want to see, but it has to be plausible. So the 49ers aren't involved in this conversation. What's a Super Bowl matchup that could happen that no one is really talking about?
The Ravens and Vikings.
Man, you keep bringing up the Ravens. I'm gonna have to. I should get you a Ravens jersey.
You should, because the Ravens are like my third team.
Okay.
So I got the Niners. Sadly, I got the Titans. I'm gonna still ride with them. They were my junior high team. And I've always just been a Baltimore Ray. I love like Ed Reed, Ray Lewis, Jamal Lewis. Man, them boys just play different, man. I don't know what it is. You got MC over there. You got Steve Smith. Just dogs, man. Just dogs. I love that kind of football. And I think adding Derrick Henry is going to allow that playoff push, right? Because in the playoffs, you got to run that ball. And then Justin Seal is really running it good too. So you got a really a three-headed monster.
And you think Minnesota?
I do, man. I do think Minnesota, man. You got to think about it, man. They got a really good defense. They're stingy. but you also have a solid run game. And who is going to guard those receivers?
Okay.
You got an old secondary in Philly. You got a depleted secondary in with the Lions. I think the Packers are the only thing that could just mix it up. But the Packers are so young; they have everything to gain and nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're a threat, and they're coached very well. So we'll see.
There we go. All right. Well, I have a fun one. It's plausible, probably not probable. How about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers play the Pittsburgh Steelers in the Super Bowl? You don't like it? I like it. I like it. You know why I like it?
I like it if you had Chris Godwin on it.
I like
on the
it
team.
because you've got two quarterbacks that are in the process of redeeming themselves. You got two quarterbacks that were talked bad about, that have found homes and organizations that have brought them in and loved them and cared for them, and they are flourishing. You've got two teams that are, I mean, Pittsburgh is obviously historic. Tampa, they were expansion team at one point, but they've won a Super Bowl. Tampa Bay has been decent or good for a long time. You got the change of the guard between Brady and Baker, and it didn't go great last year. I would love to see Tampa Bay play the Pittsburgh Steelers in the Super Bowl. There'd be defense from Pittsburgh, offense from Tampa. I think it would be a compelling game, and maybe Justin Fields even would get some carries in that one. So I would like Tampa versus Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh's a very dangerous team in the AFC, by the way. Very, very dangerous team. And could catch somebody slipping. Could catch the Chiefs.
Slipping.
Could catch the Bills. Could catch the Ravens. I mean,
slipping.
They're a team that can beat anybody.
That's a dangerous team.
Dangerous.
Especially if Russell is Russell.
Yeah.
If he's Russ, oh, shit. If he's just Mr. Wilson, I don't know. But if he's Russ, Danger Russ, man, watch out.
Man,
and you've seen a lot of flashes from him, right? He's had a couple 300-yard games. He's had a 400-yard game. Najee Harris is running the ball real well. Pickens is Pickens, but be on the lookout for that injury with TJ Watt because he got injured last game.
He sure did, and we don't know how bad that is.
I hate that because he was dominating.
Hopefully
I've never seen Lane Johnson get whooped like that.
No. And
Lane looked like he need to go in the ice bath and retire.
Did you see the sports?
My man was wearing him out.
Did you see the sportsmanship when he went down and Lane Johnson, he was blocking him and he went down and Lane stopped and went over and was kind of like, are you all right? Like the respect level between the two.
Yeah, man, those are two Hall of Fame players, man. They're not gonna do any dirty stuff, man. I love TJ Watt, man. He just plays with a motor that you can't teach. He's what Nick Bosa should be.
That's fair.
Yeah, for real. Because he's got like 6 moves. Bosa's got one. Bull rush.
Roar. Okay.
Like, yeah. I like Bosa, but I would take a more athletic TJ Watt any day of the week.
Okay. That's fair. Now we get
on fire, baby.
Yeah, let's have some fun.
Talk about your boys.
Baker Mayfield, 22 for 27, 288, four touchdowns. He did have the one interception. We don't like that. He also had 25 yards on the ground. Baker Mayfield did. That probably surprises you a little bit, I assume.
No, Baker can run.
It doesn't surprise
Baker's
you
always been mobile.
that he ran like that?
Oh, Baker's always been mobile. That doesn't shock me at all.
Okay. It surprised me mobile, but he's not much of a, I'm going to get downfield and run the ball.
He will beat you with his legs if you give him that lane.
How about this one? The game of the year. The Bills and the Lions. Josh Allen and Jared Goff.
Well, that's not the game of the year.
When I throw out some of these numbers, they combined for over 1,000 yards. The two of them of offense total, between the two of them accounted for 9 total touchdowns. Jared Goff and Josh Allen alone.
Right.
If it wasn't the game of the year, it was certainly the quarterback game of the year between the two of them.
False.
Josh Allen had 2 touchdowns in the air, 2 touchdowns on the ground with 78 yards rushing. Jared Goff had 5 total touchdowns with 13 yards rushing, which is crazy for Jared Goff. I know you're going to look at the 5 touchdowns and the 5 touchdowns for Burrow and Lamar and say that was better. I don't know.
Yeah, because it went into overtime.
1,000 yards and 9 touchdowns.
They had over 1,300 yards.
Well, I could do the math to figure out exactly what the number was, but it was a great game.
I have it. Yes, absolutely great game. 2 talented guys. Look, Josh is a freak, man.
He's
a freak, man. He's got something in that water in Cali, man. he hung around with a lot of brothers because I like the way he plays.
You know
That's my guy. I like him, but I like Lamar too. So it's really hard.
Josh Allen did not have a single offer coming out of high school, not a single one.
He may not have played like that. He was a JUCO kid, had to do the hard route, right? Do the hard route. But hey, man, he plays like a brother. I'm just gonna throw it out there. Josh plays just like a brother. I love it. He plays with an edge, man. I love it.
Josh is my favorite quarterback in the NFL right now. He has been for about 3 years, I would say.
He might
because
be
of what he can do.
Yes. Lamar's my guy, number one.
I know you love Lamar.
Josh may be number two, man. I just like how he plays. Like I don't know how to describe it. I'm like, yeah. He's a dog, man.
I love Joe Burrow, and I still do love Joe Burrow.
Best pocket work I've ever seen in my life.
Guy outside of Michael Vick who loved quarterbacks that run around a lot. I loved Michael Vick for some reason. But something about Josh, the way he runs and when he decides to run, he runs because I have to. I have to take off now. Terminator must go. And I just feel like he's not human. I feel
he's
like
Steve McNair. He's a bigger Steve McNair.
Exist.
He's a bigger Steve McNair.
He's everything Cam Newton wanted to be.
That's not true. Amazing. Cam got an MVP and a Super Bowl appearance. Don't you disrespect Cam on the show again, man. What is wrong with you? Cam is the greatest college quarterback of all time.
That's college. Yay.
But he was also a tremendous
college quarterback.
No, he's not. No, he's not. He's not. It's Cam Newton.
Body of work. What he had 3 years of dominance. Tim Tebow.
Cam's got 3 national championships. What are you talking about?
3?
Yes. He had one with Florida. He was a backup.
That doesn't count. Next.
Yeah, it does. It's a championship. Then he went to JUCO with Blinn. Dominated. National championship. National championship. Then he went to Auburn, who only had one other player drafted in Nick, what was his name? Defensive lineman. And he took him to the national championship and beat a powerhouse Oregon team who had Marcus Mariota.
It's people like you.
Playing, dog.
It's people like you.
It's stating facts.
It's people like you is the reason why Cam Newton still has the ego the size of Texas, and still.
Tim, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this.
No, he isn't.
Tim, let me ask you this. He's very relevant. He's very
not relevant.
Bro, yes, he is. You know how much he does for people? You know his organizations that he represents?
That's great.
You know how many kids?
I love that.
You know how many kids he has put into schools? You know Travis Hunter was one of his players?
Lots of people do that aren't millionaires.
But I'm just saying Cam's been doing this for like years, bro. Years.
We're not talking about off the field Cam. We're talking about on the field Cam. Cam
walked so Josh Allen could run.
Oh, wow. Cam Newton has nothing to do with Josh Allen. How does Cam Newton have anything to do with Josh Allen? Was 160 pounds in high school, bro.
Next. Who else we got? We got Lamar Jackson. Speaking of absolute studs, Lamar Jackson had more touchdowns than incompletions this week. Hello.
It's pretty good.
Another perfect passer rating game, which gives him 6. I don't know how many Josh has ever had, but that gives him a 6 perfect passer rating game. Then you got Joe Burrow, probably the smoothest quarterback I've ever seen in pocket footwork.
I struggled with this because he did throw 2 interceptions this weekend.
Oh, so why you put him in here? Next.
Because he also was only
the nerve to put Cooper Rush in here.
He only had 9 incompletions and he had 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, but you don't put Jalen Hurts in it when he didn't turn the ball over and he only has 7 incompletions. You see how your bias is? You see that?
I didn't tell you.
You see that, right?
I wouldn't put Jalen Hurts in. I just don't find Jalen Hurts.
Get Jalen in there, man. Tired of y'all disrespecting him, man.
Put him in there if you like.
Like he said, that's what you wanted to see? Is that what you wanted to see? Go ahead then, Jalen.
It's about time. And yes, Cooper Rush gets in, and here's why. Cooper Rush was 18 for 29, 3 touchdowns, no turnovers. Hey, I'm going to say this. I'm going to light the world on fire in Cowboy.
Here it is.
The offense is more productive under Cooper Rush. It looks more like an NFL offense. It's on time. There's no frantic about it. The quarterback's not running around looking behind him for somebody to hit him and hold on to the ball forever. The offense looks better under Cooper Rush. That's not to say that Cooper Rush is a better football player than Dak Prescott, but the offense operates better under Cooper Rush. I said this 2 years ago when Dak got hurt. I'm saying it again now. If I'm the Dallas Cowboys, I am doing everything in my power to get Dak to waive his no-trade clause, go to New York or Vegas, the only 2 teams in the NFL that would actually take him, and then let Cooper Rush
I
play.
think New Orleans would take him.
Let Cooper Rush play for 2, maybe 3 years and draft a quarterback. Just draft a kid.
Good luck. Yeah, just draft a kid.
It's not going to happen because Dak will not waive that trade clause. He will not leave Dallas. I wish he would, but he won't.
I'm sorry, man. Let's just jump off the Cowboys right now because
can we? Hey, I had to say it. I don't really talk about.
Hey, shout out to Cooper Rush for getting it done, though. You did throw in rhythm. I saw a little bit on the red zone. You did throw in rhythm a lot.
How about this guy?
Which was great.
This might be one of his first times all year on fire.
And his documentary drops today.
Check it out.
Aaron Rodgers. Should we call him Aaron effing Rodgers today? Because that's what he's playing like.
No, we're just going to call him Mr. Rogers.
Although, let's say this.
You're still 4-10 or 4.
He was only 16
whatever
and 30. 16 for 30. But he did have 3
not on
touchdowns.
fire, bro. But he did have he had a Brady
2
moment.
touchdowns, no interceptions. So
he's got the Brady moment today. Did you see Devontae Adams?
Oh, there was Devontae went off.
We'll just throw him and sprinkle the Brady moment to Aaron Rodgers where he threw under a minute left. That is actually, I think, his 30th fourth quarter comeback win ever. That's crazy. So he still shows he still has some stuff in the tank. Let's go to this garbage juice because we're going to speed through this. I don't even want to talk about this crap. Mr. Purdy, get your ass in here, man.
Brock Purdy. What's
wrong with you? Come on, man. Come on, man. Now, granted, Debo can't catch a cold. I get it.
He dropped He dropped a slant touchdown.
Listen, Brock didn't play too bad, but Brock made a play. Brock made one throw that I wanted to strangle him. Why would you throw why in the world is 2nd and 7? You throw a stutter go route to the slowest receiver we have, and they're playing off coverage. Take the check down, man. Stop playing. Do what got you here. Like, bore me and the fans with completions. I want to go to sleep on your game sometimes because I want to know we're in control.
Okay.
Right? There's a good thing about Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. I used to go to sleep on their matchup all the time until the 4th quarter. Why? Because they are boring me with completions. It's boring football. I love it.
My man said,
I love it. I love it. It's pure efficiency. Brock is very efficient, but right now his numbers don't reflect that. And now, apparently, his agent is coming back with a $55 million plus deal. Brother, you better go find somewhere else to play. We can't do that.
This whole game was ugly. This Rams 49ers.
It was bad, man.
Matthew Stafford, you're going in the garbage juice with Brock. You were 16 for 27, 160. How he does that after what he did to Buffalo the week before, I don't understand it.
Brother, it was a monsoon. Like, it was bad.
I mean, I saw it was
horrible.
It wasn't raining.
It was horrible. Oh, it was horrible.
Okay, well, then I'll give you
I mean, both of these quarterbacks, neither had a touchdown. But Jameis Winston, man, come on back in here, man. You seem to live in this damn thing.
Jameis can't. He's another guy that's up and down. We don't know what we're going to get from Jameis.
This is mental. It's just like he's overly optimistic without being real with himself.
Right? I love Jameis. I do.
I love Jameis, but I'm like,
such a pure person. I just want him to do well.
Together. Yeah, it's just like you force the issue. Like you can be a really great quarterback. I think you're going to be a great backup for the years to come, man. But when you have your opportunities, it's all about efficiency and consistency.
Right.
If you can't do either, it's going to be hard for you to steal a job again. Anthony
Bryce
Richardson.
You forgot about Bryce Young. You skipped right over Bryce Young.
Yeah, BY lives in here. So does
my man
Jameis.
has 3 turnovers this weekend, two picks and a fumble. And then Anthony Richardson, you're right. Anthony Richardson is another guy that I tell you, when I watch him play, Brandon, I feel like he is trying to live off that athleticism, right? He sits in the pocket. He made some crazy plays where he threw linemen off of him, and but when do you start to become a quarterback and not rely solely on the athleticism? That's what I'm waiting for to see from Anthony Richardson.
Still rookie year. He's made some plays, but at the end of the day, he's got to grow into the position. We've seen flashes, but again, what we're looking for out of these young quarterbacks, even the backup quarterbacks, efficiency, consistency. That's it.
I got you.
I don't need all this wow
He's
shit.
a tremendous athlete, but at some point you got to just learn how to play the position the way it's supposed to be played.
Well, he'll learn.
He's
He'll
struggling.
learn. It's
He's
still
certainly
year
struggling.
one. And speaking of struggling, all these damn rookies struggle, except Jaden.
Well, Jaden wasn't great. He was solid. We'll give him
Solid performance.
He's
So
definitely
Caleb,
not where he was 6 weeks ago.
not good. Bo Nix wasn't so good, even though they got the W. Drake
Nope.
May, very so-so.
Bo Nix, 3 touchdowns but 3 interceptions, and we've seen this from him throughout the year, where he'll give you 2 touchdowns, but he'll give the ball away twice. He'll
He's
3
a
to
gambler.
3. It baffles me that you can throw 3 touchdowns and look so good sometimes, and then throw 3 interceptions on top of that. That's why I'm not with the Broncos. I'm not scared of them yet because of that. Spencer Rattler, almost had a Brady moment. He did get them in the end zone, and then they went for 2, and they missed the 2-point conversion. And Jaden Daniels, he's been solid all year. He's, in my opinion, he's the rookie of the year. He's probably been the most consistent, although Bo Nix really pushed that a little bit. But
Right.
I feel like with the way Bo Nix turns the ball over, you can't give him the nod over Jaden Daniels.
Right. Understand.
My
Understand.
opinion. I like Jaden Daniels a lot. I hate that he plays for Washington. Caleb last night, can we just talk about this for a second as a Bears fan? Caleb looks to be, he's been on a roller coaster this year. He started off kind of good, then he regressed, then he came back. Now he's regressed again. And to me last night, and Troy Aikman pointed it out so eloquently several times, man, he's just missing people, bro. He is missing crossers. He's missing guys over the middle doing blitz replacements, and he's miss. Why can he not see the field? And then he's when he does throw the little slant last night, he misses that by, 2.5 yards probably.
I feel like the game is very fast for him, but I feel like he's also gotten to such a safe space of being successful, of moving around, and he probably sees that helping when actually it's hurting. If you watch some of the receivers run their routes, they're basically jogging because they know he's not going to throw it on time. And that's pathetic. Like, I literally sat and watched probably 7 minutes in that game, and I'm just like, God, they're running slow.
Yeah, it's been a mess.
But the reason why is because he doesn't throw on time.
Yeah.
So he's got to clean that up, man. I'm not saying he's a bad player, but we all saw this going in. When you're an ad-lib player and you rely on that too much, it could really cripple you. You've got to throw on time, man. If you don't throw in time and you don't throw in rhythm, you won't be around for a long time. So, and I told you about Caleb. I was like, he's either going to be hella good or it's going to be bad. There's no in between with him.
It's been both. It's been, I'm really good today.
I've seen one good game out of Caleb this year.
I'll put it this way. I'm good for this quarter. Like, these couple drives, I was really good, and then I fall off the cliff for the rest of the game. That's what we're seeing.
He's got to learn to maintain, again, efficiency and consistency.
Somebody made a post last night or this morning that Caleb Williams last night looked like a child trying to play Madden and didn't know what the buttons do. Because
pretty much.
There was a play where he gets the ball, there's pressure, he like spins away from nobody, then he jumps in the air like somebody's trying to grab at his feet, there's nobody near him, and then he just throws the ball to absolutely nobody, like a jump ball in the back of the end zone.
Blow the whistle, blow the whistle.
Hopefully they can figure that
nuts.
out. All of Chicago's a mess right now. Week 16 matchups, this is one we want to focus really on games that are going to matter for the playoffs. And we got some good ones. We got some good divisional games coming up, and we've got some good playoff implication games. Denver versus the Chargers this week, folks. That's a huge game. One of those teams, if they lose, could be out of the playoffs, not in at all. KC versus Houston. Will Mahomes play? Houston is fighting again to win that division, so he better play. Steelers Ravens. This might be the game of the weekend. This is huge for both teams. The Steelers are in the driver's seat in that division, but the Ravens can get right back into it with a big win this weekend. So that's a huge game. Rams Jets. This is one of those spoiler games. The Rams win out. They win their division. They get a home field game in the playoffs. But the Jets can play spoiler this weekend in New York.
Come on, Jets.
Look for that. Let's go Jets. And then another huge game for this weekend. Eagles Washington, man. Washington is just on the brisk of a playoff hope. The Eagles are trying to win the entire NFC, right? They're trying to get that number 1 seed. Right. They're not far away. They have to win this weekend for even a shot at it, and Washington has to win to get into the playoffs. That's a huge matchup. Can't wait for that one. Let's get into your fantasy because now that we know what the matchups are, who are you playing? Who are you sitting?
Man. It's a toss-up, right? We're talking quarterbacks. I'm definitely sitting CJ. I'm definitely sitting Russell. I'm definitely sitting Lamar. I'm sitting although I think for some reason I think Lamar's going to go off, but Lamar's 1-7 in those past 8 appearances. doesn't really look very good when he does that. It seems like Tomlin's got his number. I would go with Brock Purdy this week. I think Brock's going to have a bounce back game against Miami. It's good weather. I'd also start Tua. I think that's just going to be a shootout. I like the Rams. I like Stafford in this. I don't like Rodgers in this situation, unfortunately. I would want to stay away from Eagles Commanders completely. I think Kyler is going to have a really good game this week. And Josh Allen versus the Patriots.
Always play Josh Allen in fantasy.
Oh, that's great because I'm in the championship versus Charlie this week, and Josh Allen's my quarterback.
There you go.
Let's go. And Saquon is my running back. Alvin Kamara is my running back. Travis Kelce. Nah, he ain't Pooh, but he better step up.
Congratulations to Brandon for winning his fantasy game this week.
Not yet.
Charlie. We're going to give it.
I beat BP, man. I was nervous, boy.
Well, that'll do it, I guess, for this week's edition of the QB Huddle podcast. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share. As always, comment, get involved. For my podcast partner, Brandon Newey, I'm Tim Smith. Be on the lookout for another Young Guns later this week with NFL hopeful quarterback Justin Arth. Till next time, keep those chains moving, folks.
Peace.